Hi all. Today we are going to see the Test Studio in the Canvas app. Testing is a part of our software development lifecycle. In most of the cases, the developers will be doing a manual testing or the quality assurance testers will be doing a manual testing on the Power App. Manual testing is good for some extent, but when we increase the app complexity, like a simple app from 10 to 12 screens of app, when you try to add an update to an app or when you try to add a new functionality to your app, we might need a strategy to automate the testing process in such a way that it should not affect the previous developed features. So for the test automation, the Canvas app has a own test studio for that. So we are going to see the test studio for the Canvas app, and it works only for the Canvas app. So the first step, we will see how to record a test case from an app. So I have developed a small app, which is a Kudos app, which I will show you the functionality now. And then we will try to set up a test case database in the Dataverse. This database is required to save the test data once you run the test result. So once it is done, we will configure the test case database in the test studio so that whenever we run the test case, the result will be saved in the Dataverse. And then we will see the ways of executing that in the browser or on demand. So we'll get into the test studio automation for the Canvas app. So the app is a Kudos app which can able to save some Kudos for this particular user. So the app is a very simple app. It's a Kudos app. This will allow the user to add any Kudos to our colleagues. So for example, if I want to add a Kudos to a particular person, I click on the plus sign here and then I will search for that particular person. I am giving a Kudos to Alan and I'm just giving thanks buddy for the deliverables, for the project deliverable. The Kudos type is team player. So I'm hitting on save here. So you can see that once I hit on save, the details has populated here to the Alan, which is good. So we are going to create a test case for this one and we will see whether this will work in our test studio. So to enable the test studio, we need to go to the settings and under the upcoming feature, we need to go to the experimental section here and we need to turn on the formula level error management. This is necessary to open up our test studio. If I don't enable this, I will get a warning here when I try to launch as a test studio under the advanced tool. So if I click on open test, I'll get an option to enable this formula level error management. So I go to the settings and I go and enable that now. Once it is enabled, I have to save and I will just publish the app for the safer side. Now I hit on the open test. It launches the test studio. By default, you will have a single test suite and a test case. And we need to record the test cases for this particular app. To record this, you will have an icon here on top. Click on this record icon, which will launch the Kudos app. So you can see that I can see the app here. And the left hand side, I can see a blank test case. So when I try to create a Kudos for one of the user, I just select this one. And you can see that as soon as I selected the icon, it just try to save the settings here. So the test case steps have been recorded automatically when I perform any actions on the app. So I go and select any user and I say some word here, thanks buddy for the help. The kudos type will be applause. Thanks for the wonderful job. So once I do all the inputs, I click on save and it comes back and I can see the information here. So I click on done. Once you click on done, you can see that you can able to see all the test cases which we have recorded here. Once it is recorded, you can save and we can publish this particular test case along with the test suite. So once it is published, we can play and see how that works. I hit on play. You can see that the left hand side for each test case is getting executed and we got an error here. Maybe we try another time. Yeah, it's getting executed. Sometimes the test studio is, we need to publish it and wait for a few minutes to reflect the changes. So it was that case now. So you can see that it is getting executed successfully and all the steps are getting passed. If there is any failure, you can see a red icon here. So I can see that another record has been created here. So I click on done. Yeah, good. So we have successfully recorded a test case. So the next step is to set up the test case DB. So why we need that? So you can see that I just click on this play button and I can able to see the result. But down the line, we will have multiple test cases and in some of the scenarios, we need to automate this one by using the playable link here. So this is a link which I can use it in the browser anytime with my credential logged in already in the browser. It will automatically execute the app in the backend. You can see that I'm not doing anything. It just started executing that by entering the test case data and automatically it will try to enter the details and hit on save. If there is any error occurred, it just drop and it will just pass here. But where I will save this test result? So to save the test result, we have an option here where we can write a code for saving the data. So for example, if I execute each and every time for the test case, I can save a result for the test case in a SharePoint, or you can save in a Dataverse, or you can save as a file in the OneDrive. So it depends upon how you want to do. So to do that, what I have done, I have created a table in the Dataverse. So I just went here and I created a table, and for the columns, we have the Microsoft document for the Test Studio, and we already have what are the fields are there and what you can able to do that. So you can see that to save any data to the Dataverse, I can just patch the Dataverse database. I assign the default values and I just execute that details from the test case result. So test case result is the record which gets as an output in the Test Studio. So I just copy that and I just made some alterations. So for example, for the patch app test result, I just replaced that with the test case result, and some of the fields, something like test success, I have something called success. So what I have done is just copy pasted and I just remove the unwanted fields from here. And once it is done, so we have an option here called test. So I click on that. You can see I have just added the same value, and this is actually saving the data here. So for example, this is done. So we have just know how to set up a DB, and we just configure the test case output. So each and every time when I run this particular test case along with the test suite, when I start it, I can write any code here to save any data when I start the test case. I can save any data when I want to complete the test case, where you get the success or the failure for the particular test case. And if you have multiple test cases here, on end of all the test suite, you can just save the completed data, something like how many test case is completed successfully and how many has been failed. So for the demo, we just see the results for the test case complete. So since I had this data already when I was executing that, I can show you the data in this side. So we were just executing that, and you can see that we had some data where it is getting saved and it is getting failed. So I just delete it for us to focus on the demo. So now what we do, we have this copy link. I just copy that, and the advanced option is to use this link in our Azure DevOps build pipeline. So whenever you deploy the Power App in a UAT as part of an ALM, this link will be used to automatically run this in the backend and save the test result to your Dataverse. And from the Dataverse, you can create a Power Automate to trigger an email for your test manager stating that, hey, just all the results have been passed, but something has been failed here. So you can do n number of innovative ideas from this one. So for the starting point, we just execute that as a link, and once it gets the execution completed, you can see the particular Dataverse test record in the backend. So let's wait for this to complete the test case. So it got saved now. Great. So it is done. So I go to the test case result, and if I refresh the data, I can see it is successfully completed. So we have executed that by copying the URL, and which can be used as an automatic tool, or you can even use the on-demand play button which is there in the test studio. So this has been done, for example. So after 1 month or 2 months, the developers will be doing some changes in the app. So for example, they will be using this app, and for this one they do some changes. For example, they may remove that from the view, and they would have changed the view and saved and published it, which we don't know. So developers will be doing some changes in the app, they will be doing some of the changes here, and they will be doing some of the things around here. So what happens if I play this link again? So consider that the developers did some extra feature and they just messed up with the existing one, and our test studio is going to run in the backend, and it tries to add some data. So our developer has just messed up the existing feature, and they would have added some extra screens, and they would have added something like, for example, they add some extra functionality here, which is to cancel or delete something. So, and they have added some extra screens. So for example, just doing that, but they have just made a mess with the existing feature. So when I try to save and when I try to publish this, let's see how our test studio is going to work now. So I go to the test result to copy the URL. I'm not going to modify anything. I just copy the playable URL. It's asking me to publish it. Let me publish and get the copy URL. So this is going to be the same URL that we got earlier. So I go here, I paste it. So you can see there is one field missing here, and we'll try to see whether our test studio can able to figure out that something is missing already. Just got stuck in this particular screen and it's not moving further. So if I go to the test result and refresh the screen, you can see that a test result has failed now. So this is the feature of the test studio. So you will have this execution in the backend in the Azure pipeline, which runs in the backend, which you can't see like in the browser. It runs in the backend, and whenever it fails, it just stops there. And when this is figured out, you can have a Power Automate which listens this particular database, and you can say whenever there is a failure in the test case, you trigger an email for your test manager. So this can be used as a unit testing purpose, or you can use this widely for your testing strategy. Thank you so much for watching this video. We'll come up with a new one and we'll meet again soon. Thank you.